Hi and welcome to this week's Worksheets from Gratuita Kids, where each week will be load 3 printable Bible lessons for you to use with your under 5s, whether it be at home or at church. And this week we're looking at the Sermon on the Mount, maybe the most famous sermon ever preached by Jesus. So if you haven't already done so, can I encourage you to head over to the website at gratuitakids.com, and there you can download this week's lesson and follow along for free. So on the front cover you see there just a simple picture of Jesus there on the mountain with the title The Sermon on the Mount. As you open up a lesson on the first page, as usual we have the introduction as well as a lesson guide. So in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus covers a lot of things, and we're not going to try and cover them all in this week's lesson. So the Lord's Prayer is coming up in the future lesson. The wise and foolish builder is actually coming up as next week's lesson. But what we are going to look at this week, we're going to look at the Beatitudes. We're going to look at Jesus calls us to be salt and light. We're going to look at Jesus teaching us how to live in a way which honours God. And then we're also going to look at the golden rule, treating others the way you want to be treated. And in the lesson guide here, you have lots of just tips and examples and actual activities you could do with your child to help them to understand the truths that Jesus is teaching in these chapters. On the next pages is the principal story of the Sermon on the Mount. So it comes over 2 pages. You can glue them front to back or just print them front to back. And just a simple way to teach your child the passage. You see the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus there with the people coming to listen to him. Next one, Jesus teaching how to pray, calling them to be salt and light. And finally on the back, teaching the golden rule. This can be used in church as a take-home page, or you can use it as bedtime stories. Then a way which is really good for applying biblical truth is to do it through games and activities in a fun and interactive way. So we have 3 activities again this week that you could do with your child. The first one is a taste test. We had great fun running through this yesterday. So what you need is just 4 cups. In each cup you put something salty, something plain, something sweet, and you can mix it up. You can have as many cups as you want. And as you and your child taste it, you need to say, is it sweet, is it salty, or is it plain? You can also talk about different textures. Is it chewy, is it soft, is it crunchy? So experiment with the taste, explain what it's like, and then remind them that Jesus calls us to be like salt. Next is hide a flashlight or a torch, as we call it here in the UK. So with this, you just in a dark room or a dimly lit room, you get a flashlight, and the idea is to hide it somewhere while everybody else is there, eyes closed, and everybody must hunt for the flashlight. So obviously it will give off some light, even though it's hidden, it will reflect on some things. And we talk about how Jesus said that we should be light, like a city on the hill, that it shouldn't be hidden. People should be able to see it. Finally, a salt painting. This is really fun. You can paint whatever patterns you want to on the paper, or use a template here, and then sprinkle on salt like you would with glitter. And after, when it's dry, you can paint the salt, and it makes really nice textures in it. There's lots of examples online as well of how you can do this. So on to this week's worksheets. So again, we have a few. First one is Jesus talks about a narrow gate and a wide gate during the Sermon on the Mount. So here's this activity. So you'll see the hedge here with narrow gates and with wider gates. What you need to do, or what the child needs to do, is see, is it narrow, is it wide, and then you need to colour it in the right colour. So red for the wide gates and brown for the narrow gates. Next one about being light on the hill is to finish a pattern. So here's a picture of a lighthouse. It goes red, white, white. So you would do red, white, and so on, just to finish the pattern on the lighthouse. This is a simple maze. Find your way to the top of the mountain. So you start in the red arrow here and trace your way until you get to the top of the mountain. Hopefully you're not getting lost in the way. And here's just a handwriting practice worksheet, working on the letter M, so like a mountain with M, so you would cover, so on, just to practice following the lines until they can do it all for themselves at the bottom. So one of the things Jesus said in the Sermon on the Mount is not to build up treasures for ourselves here on earth where they can be robbed or they can decay, but to make treasures in heaven. So for this week's craft, we're making treasures in heaven egg box. So it's going to be a treasure chest. We're going to explore that together. There's cards with treasures in heaven. So all you need is an egg box and paint, a treasure in heaven card, which is on the next page here. And you're pretty much set to go. If you want to use jewels, you can. And it's very easy to use example of the one which we made. So you get an egg box, you paint it all in whatever colour you want to. Ours is brown. Paint some gold paint on top there, and then some glitter on top of that. Then inside you'll see the Treasures of Heaven card, which Timothy, our son, did very nicely for us. And here you see with the jewels on top, and you would decorate them. And it's a way to remember, not to to do good things, the things Jesus asks us to do, and to build up treasures for ourselves in heaven. So just on to the current pages as we come to a close. You are the salt of the earth, so salt cellar, current page. Next one is just a light bulb, reminding you are the light of the world, Matthew 5:14. Simple picture of Jesus on top of the mountain. And then the last page, if you're at home, just some ideas of some YouTube videos you can maybe watch and sing with your child, to worship together. Prayer is just to thank God for teaching us His word for the Bible, and to ask Him to help us to obey His commands. And the preview of next week's lesson, which is the wise and foolish builder. And again, can I just encourage you, if you haven't already done so, below is a link here where you can subscribe, and then you'll get each lesson each week by email. And I just thank you again for your prayers and support. We a very special time at the moment as Gratuita kids, as God's opening new doors for us to share the lessons, not just in English but in new languages. So recently we've had it Dutch, in Vietnamese as well, and we're actually just working on Khmer at the moment for Cambodia. So we just feel so humbled by how God's opening our ministry and allowing us to serve others. Thank you for your prayers, for your support. And I know if you're looking at this video live in March 2020, then it's a very difficult week, as much of the world is just worried about coronavirus. Many people are stuck at home and not able to go to church. And we really pray that just if you're studying the Bible at home with your child, that this lesson will just be a great blessing to you, and you'll have a great time exploring God's word as a family. Well, God bless you. We're praying for you, and we'll see you again next week as we look at the next lesson, which is the wise and foolish builders. God bless.